relaxing, both of us.
Aha, very good. Well, here I am with Sean, and you are the CEO founder of It.AVI.
That's right.
Okay.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you. And we're here at WOMMA, and I want to interview about 50 things, but if we only have 10 minutes. So your views on the conference, super users, measurement. You talked to me a little bit about if you don't have a good product and you don't have good customer service, then the word of mouth will be not valuable.
Not so wordy.
It'll be a lot, but it won't be what you want it to be. So give me some thoughts here, Sean.
Yeah, great. Well, let me start with WOMMA. I mean, I think this is my third WOMMA event, and it's been a good journey. I'm an ops guy by heart. I spent 15 years at Microsoft. I implemented and ran large-scale influencer programs in online communities, and I found my way into WOMMA. Really trying to understand the other side of this, which is I already had activated, engaged users who were fans of the product and delivering service online to other users.
Yep.
But I realized there was this whole other organization called marketing that was trying to drive customer acquisition and lifetime customer value and figuring out how to drive value or data around influencers. And I kind of saw these worlds as not sequential. I mean, it's weird. We all in companies were structured as these functional silos.
Right.
We build stuff. We sell stuff, and we service stuff. And the bigger you get, the less those three functional silos communicate
They
with one
almost
another.
don't at all. And they have metrics, I would say, that don't necessarily correspond to an overall customer experience.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you the most obvious question to me, which, I'm more on the customer service side, CRM side of this. Who do you think should lead the social interaction?
Well,
That's a
loaded question, especially at this conference, to make sure no one watches what I have to say. Now, we get asked that a lot.
It's a shared responsibility, yes. And my theory is that customer service is in the business of customer interactions.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, and all our software is built on outreach and responding and communication, not saying that anybody in customer service does it well. I'm not saying that, but how do we work together? I was talking to Kira at Intuit, and she was telling me that they're going to combine customer service and marketing.
Yes, smart.
Yes.
Smart. So one of the ththings I've thought a lot about around this, right, is how we have to interconnect these, that remind ourselves that it's not a sequence, it's a loop. That the best word of mouth on the web usually started with a customer service experience. Also the worst, Del Hell, if you want to pick the most famous talked about example of this decade, started with a customer service experience.
Yep.
And so I think brands have to realize that word of mouth is really a measure of the truthiness of your brand promise, right? You've made a promise to users. Either your product works in a particular way, it solves a particular problem, it enables you to achieve a certain aspiration, it enables you to connect in ways you haven't done before, but whatever it is, even in a campaign, you've made a promise. The WOM issue is how truthful is your promise. And things
are
like
you able
Twitter,
to keep it? I mean, and when you don't...
Do you follow through?
Yeah, do you follow through? And what I see on Twitter is that's what people are complaining about.
Yeah.
They're not saying, hey, marketing, you sent me too many email marketing messages, or I get too many catalogs in the mail. They're saying, help. You're not paying attention to me. I tried the traditional channels. They don't work. So now I'm going to scream at the top of my lungs with my megaphone called Twitter and embarrass you into helping me.
Yeah, it's great you mentioned Kira. We've done some work with Intuit, and Kira said something to me in a recent meeting that really resonated about, she described Twitter as a motion delivery vehicle. That was brilliant, right? Because in the moment, in 140 characters, what can I share? I can share the experience I'm having with you right now. What's really changed this year is that the deals now that Google and Bing have done with Twitter around search, real-time search, means that the search relevancy of that emotion is going to go through the roof relative to all other ways that relevancy is determined. So that emotive response to people loving you, hating you, being frustrated with you, wanting you to be something you're not right now, is going to be available instantly. And I think that's the business opportunity for a brand to think about, is how do I understand all of the touch points that users have with my brand, from marketing to product development to service and support to retail to channel to supply chain, fulfillment, returns.
Right.
Anywhere there's an interaction, your WOM story will only be as good as the fail point in that story.
I would have to agree with you. And so it's really a shared responsibility. And one of the things that I've observed is Twitter has this megaphone, we're called the embarrassment megaphone maybe, that when executives see it, so you and I know, call
Yeah.
center can't get an executive to sit down and listen to customer service calls, right?
Yeah.
Very difficult to do that. But now they see the comments in Twitter and in the cloud, and they're like, fix it and fix it now. I don't care what you have to do.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hallelujah. I also see in some instances, not all of them, that the silos between the functional units are now coming down, because
Yes.
it's more about, now we're not product focused, we're not IT focused, we're not sales focused, we're customer focused. And when you focus on the customer, all the barriers between not my problem and throw it over the fence and not invented here, you have a completely different point of view.
And this is exactly, not to shamelessly plug, but that's what It.AVI means to me, right? Is it's understanding this whole idea of micro-segmenting. It's what the one person says and what the relevancy of that one person's experience is that is going to dictate how your brand is interpreted by others. Right? I think that's really that big challenge. We people talk about social media and social business, and they're all good words. We talk about social customer experiences. To us, is when you're connecting customers to other customers and creating experiences that are greater than the transactions that they used to be, or greater than the broadcast experience that it used to be. That's where differentiation will come from. And so, almost back to your question of who should lead it.
Yes.
Right? There's not a great answer. I think
I think if we try to answer that, and this is where, because I posted a blog post about this, and I got lots of support from customer service and very angry responses from some people in marketing. And this is the conclusion. I could change tomorrow, but Sean, here's what I think. We're trying to make this decision from the way we think about our functional departments today.
Yeah.
And that's why we're stuck. If we actually transformed what customer service was and what marketing was, customer service is marketing, marketing is customer service. And so if we move away from the functional definitions that we've traditionally had, maybe if we could reinvent ourselves, kind of do a Madonna on ourselves and really look at what could we do differently and how do we function differently? What do you think about that?
Well, I think that's exactly right. I mean, I used to have this dream of what I called the Chief Customer Experience Officer, right? And some companies have it, but it's not real. Right?
I know we've been talking about that, but it doesn't have positional power or budget.
Exactly. So, I would almost say this. There's two ways, I guess, to tear this apart. One is the debate, which we've done some projects with some clients around, should it be centralized or decentralized or some hybrid? And I think that there's a hybrid model.
Center of excellence.
Right. There's a hybrid model I think can make sense, especially when you're large. The other is functionally, where do you lead it? Today I would almost answer it this way. If I had to choose, I'd say the group that should own it is the group that has the most willpower, essentially, in the company to drive real change. Right? They've got the sponsorship,
right.
They have the charter, and they have the resources. Because passion's not enough in the boardroom.
Nope.
And I've seen it time and time again that, unfortunately, some of the most enthusiastic fans of social media are the worst salespeople to executives about why they should do it, because they're so emotionally wrapped up in how cool it is, how great it is, how the new way, how Gen Y and this and that, and they bring out stories. And that's not what executives want to hear. They want to hear, how are you going to help me achieve a business outcome? Right.
What's the business transformation we're talking about? What's the return on investment? And actually, that's what I'm going to be talking about later this afternoon at 3:45. And that's really why I wrote my ROI model, because people were saying, what's the value to the enterprise? And on a gut level, we all get it. Employees talking to each other, employees talking to the company, customers talking to the company talking to customers. Inherently, that's a good thing. Voice of the customer.
Yeah.
It goes back to Deming, I think. Employee circles. I used to work in the auto industry. And we sent Deming to Japan. And look what happened. Yeah. But I think it's really this really looking at a brand new way to formalize voice of the customer and the customer experience. And we have like about 50 more seconds. So
yeah, I mean, I think the thing that you're landing on that I would close with is this. People ask me all the time about the ROI of all this stuff. And it's a fair question. And the work that you're doing and others like you are doing to research it is important. No one should stop doing math.
Right.
But let me give you my podcast answer. Where is it? My podcast answer is, what's the ROI of this phone?
I got it.
Why do we have telephones in offices? Because people who are relevant to our business may want to have a conversation with us. Why should we engage in Twitter? Why should we engage in Facebook,
Oh, I
on
love
YouTube,
it.
through
It's a
social channels?
conversation.
Because people who want to engage with our brand are trying to talk to us.